Welcome, friend. Wherever you are, whether you're lying down to rest, trying to ease a restless mind, or simply looking for a peaceful way to end your day, I'm glad you're here. Tonight, I'll tell you a story. A long story. A quiet one. You don't need to stay awake for every word. Just listen, and let the world fade gently behind you, before your mind drifts into dreams. Let me tell you the story of a boy who once lived in a village hidden among the leaves. A story of loneliness, of laughter, of bonds formed, and battles fought. This is not just the tale of a ninja. It is the journey of a child who carried the weight of a village and turned it into strength. So close your eyes, breathe deeply. Let the rustling leaves of Konohagakure guide you through his world. From the quiet moments of childhood to the echoes of destiny. This is the story of Naruto Uzumaki. In a quiet corner of a vast world where shinobi walked the earth, there nestled a peaceful village hidden behind walls of stone and forests thick with life. This village, warmed by morning sunrises and blanketed in evening fog, was known as Konohagakure, the Hidden Leaf Village. The rooftops here sloped gently under mossy tiles. The wind chimes hanging outside windows danced with the breeze, whispering the lullabies of a place where people worked hard and laughed often. Cherry blossoms swirled down narrow paths lined with old shops and tiny noodle stalls. Lanterns glowed softly as night fell, and children drifted to sleep with dreams of becoming heroes. But long ago, before peace had settled its soft hand on the village, the sky split open with rage. It was a cold, brittle night. The stars had vanished behind swirling clouds, and the earth trembled. A massive creature cloaked in red chakra, wild living energy, broke free into the village. It was the nine-tailed fox, the Kyuubi, a beast born of fury and ancient chakra. Its tails thrashed through buildings. Its roar shattered windows. Flames painted the skies orange and crimson. The villagers fled, clutching children, crying out for loved ones. In the chaos stood one man, Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, the yellow flash, quick as a breath and brave as firelight. And in his arms was his newborn son. His wife, Kushina Uzumaki, lay pale and fading, her life drained from containing the fox's power until now. With gentle eyes and a trembling smile, she whispered her final words into the night. Words of love for the child she could not raise, hopes wrapped in lullabies for a life she would never see bloom. To save the village and protect their son, Minato did the unthinkable. He sealed half of the Nine-Tails' immense chakra into his own body, and the other half into the baby boy with soft blonde hair and bright, curious eyes, Naruto Uzumaki. The Hokage and his wife passed that night, and the baby, marked by fate, bathed in silence, was left behind. The village was saved, but peace came at a strange cost. Though Minato had intended the child to be seen as a hero, the villagers saw something else. As Naruto grew, the hidden leaf grew quieter around him. The sun still rose on the tiled roofs. The wind still rustled the paper lanterns. But wherever Naruto walked, shadows lingered. Mothers pulled their children away when he passed. Shopkeepers looked through him, not at him. Teachers kept their distance. No one ever told him why. He didn't know about the Nine-Tails sealed within him. He didn't know why people gave him cold glances, why no one came to pick him up after class, why no one remembered his birthday. He knew only that he was alone. The apartment he lived in was small and cluttered. The floorboards creaked under his feet. A calendar on the wall stayed marked with the wrong date. Ramen cups stacked in the corner like little towers. He taught himself to cook, to clean, to wake up on time. He played pranks not out of mischief, but to make someone, anyone, notice him. Once, he painted the Hokage monument, splashing paint across the carved faces of the village's great leaders. He grinned as he did it, his fingers stained with color, his laughter echoing over the cliffs. And when they caught him, when he was scolded and punished, he smiled. Because for that moment, everyone was looking at him. Even if they were angry, even if they didn't understand, at least they saw him. In the classrooms of the Ninja Academy, Naruto struggled. His clones failed, his grades stumbled, and the instructors sighed. But behind his loud voice and wild antics was a boy aching to prove he belonged. He sat in the back row, watching others get praised, watching parents arrive to congratulate their children. He watched Sasuke Uchiha, quiet and gifted, with cold eyes and perfect jutsu. He watched Sakura Haruno, clever and determined, who rolled her eyes at him, and he wondered, when will someone believe in me? Then, one day, someone did. It began with a test. The final exam to become a genin, a full-fledged ninja. Naruto failed. He sat on the swing outside the academy, the rusted chains swaying softly under his weight. Leaves drifted past him like memories. He clenched his fists. He wanted to be stronger. He wanted to make someone proud. Then came Mizuki, a teacher, smiling, kind, too kind. He told Naruto there was a secret way to pass, a scroll hidden away in the Hokage's quarters. If Naruto could steal it and learn from it, he would be accepted. Mizuki whispered promises. And Naruto believed him. That night, under a canopy of stars, Naruto crept into the Hokage's office and took the scroll of sealing. Deep in the woods, alone by firelight, he unrolled it, its ancient parchment brimming with forbidden techniques. He didn't understand the danger. He only wanted to be acknowledged. Hours passed, sweat on his brow, dirt on his cheeks. He practiced a single jutsu, the shadow clone technique. Not just one clone, but hundreds. Perfect, solid copies, stronger than anything he'd ever made. And then Iruka found him. Iruka Umino, Naruto's instructor, was furious. But before he could scold him, Mizuki appeared and revealed the truth. That Naruto was the vessel of the Nine Tails. That the villagers hated him for it. That he had been lied to all his life. Naruto's eyes widened. The world spun. Iruka stepped in front of Mizuki's attack. Bleeding and breathless, he looked at Naruto, not with hate, but with understanding. He remembered himself as a boy, crying after his parents died in the Nine Tails attack. He realized Naruto wasn't the fox. Naruto was just a child, lonely, brave, and aching for love. When Naruto saw Iruka wounded, something snapped inside him. He unleashed 1,000 shadow clones, a storm of Narutos, and Mizuki was defeated. In the quiet that followed, Iruka took off his own headband. He tied it gently around Naruto's forehead. "You pass," he whispered. And for the first time in his life, Naruto cried because someone believed in him. From that day on, Naruto Uzumaki was a genin of the Hidden Leaf Village. The streets didn't change overnight. People still whispered. Children still pointed. But Naruto walked taller. He wore his headband like a badge of honor. He ate ramen with a bigger smile. He looked at the faces on the Hokage monument and thought, someday I'll be up there too. Because he wasn't just the boy with no family. He was a ninja now, a shinobi of the leaf. And even if the world didn't see it yet, he would become the strongest ninja who ever lived. The wind blew gently through the village that evening. Lanterns flickered to life. Somewhere, a flute played a soft tune. The moon rose over the Hokage monument, casting long shadows on the stone. And in a small apartment, beneath an orange blanket, Naruto Uzumaki drifted to sleep, alone, but dreaming. The sun rose gently over Konohagakure, casting long beams of golden light over the rooftops and narrow alleys. Somewhere near the academy, Naruto stood on tiptoe, peering excitedly at a bulletin board. Today, he would be assigned to a team. He fidgeted in place, already dreaming of grand missions, glory, and respect. But as the names were read out, his heart skipped. Team 7. Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke Uchiha. Sakura Haruno. Naruto blinked. Sasuke? The cool, quiet genius of the class. His rival in everything, from ninja techniques to Sakura's attention. And Sakura, the smart girl with sharp words and gentle eyes, especially when they weren't looking at him. He didn't know it yet. But these two, his rival and his crush, would become something far more important. They would become family. Later that day, they met their team leader, Kakashi Hatake, a tall man with silver hair that defied gravity, a headband slanted over one eye, and a mask that covered half his face. He spoke slowly, almost lazily. His first impression, "You all don't really impress me." Naruto's jaw dropped. But Kakashi wasn't interested in flashy introductions. He had something else planned. A test, not of skill, but of heart. The Bell Test. They met in an open training field the next morning. Trees swayed gently around them. Birds chirped in the distance. Kakashi stood calmly, two tiny silver bells hanging from his waist. "Your task," he said, "is simple. Take a bell from me. If you can't, you fail. Only 2 bells. One of you will go home." Naruto didn't wait. He charged in head first. His energy burned hot, wild, untamed. But Kakashi vanished with a poof. Naruto's head spun. Meanwhile, Sasuke hid in the shadows, planning. Sakura searched anxiously. One by one, they tried, and failed. Kakashi was too fast. Too clever. Hours passed. Naruto was tied to a post. His stomach growled, his pride wounded. And yet, as Kakashi prepared to leave, Sakura and Sasuke did something unexpected. They offered Naruto their lunch. Even knowing they'd be punished, they shared it anyway, quietly, without fanfare. And that was the real test. Kakashi, for the first time, lowered his mask just enough to smile. "You, pass," he said, "because in the ninja world, teamwork is everything." And in this small, early moment, a bond was born. Their first real missions were nothing special. Walking dogs, pulling weeds, finding lost cats. Naruto groaned with frustration. This isn't real ninja work. But one day, everything changed. They were assigned a mission to the Land of Waves, a distant country shrouded in mist and burdened by fear. Their job was to escort a bridge builder. Easy enough. Until the fog thickened and 2 assassins emerged from the mist. Team 7 faced real danger for the first time. Naruto's hands trembled. His legs wouldn't move. But Sasuke acted quickly, protecting Naruto without hesitation. It struck Naruto hard. His pride burned, but so did something else. Inspiration. This was what it meant to be a ninja. They pressed on, but what awaited them was far greater than any of them had expected. Standing on the water's edge, with a massive blade slung over his shoulder, was Zabuza Momochi, a rogue ninja from the hidden mist. Tall, silent, deadly. And beside him, a masked companion, soft-spoken and mysterious. Haku. Kakashi fought Zabuza with all his strength, revealing for the first time his Sharingan, the legendary eye of the Uchiha. Meanwhile, Team 7 watched and learned. There were rules, they realized. Unwritten rules of life and death. They trained harder than ever. Naruto swore not to freeze again. He practiced with shadows and shuriken, pouring himself into every movement. And then, it was time. The final battle came at dawn, mist crawling over the bridge like silent ghosts. Haku confronted Naruto and Sasuke, revealing a power they hadn't seen before. A dome of ice mirrors, each one a doorway for deadly attacks. Sasuke stood firm. Naruto raged. Inside the storm of ice and chakra, something changed in Naruto. Seeing his friend fall, Sasuke struck down, bleeding. Something broke open inside him. The nine tails stirred. Dot red chakra flared like fire. His wounds healed in seconds. His power erupted, wild and furious. Haku was overwhelmed, but when Naruto saw Haku's face unmasked, he stopped. Haku had not been cruel. He had not wanted to kill. He had fought only to protect someone he loved. Zabuza. That realization sank deep into Naruto's heart. That even an enemy could have someone precious. Just like him, Zabuza was defeated. The bridge was safe, but it wasn't victory Naruto felt. It was sorrow. Haku died protecting Zabuza. And in those final moments, Zabuza, cold, ruthless Zabuza, cried. Naruto's heart ached. These were the shades of the ninja world no textbook could teach. Here, in the mist, Naruto saw that bonds could both lift and destroy. But even so, he would fight to make them beautiful. As the mission ended, the villagers, once fearful, once silent, gathered. They smiled at Naruto, not because he was loud, not because he caused trouble, but because he protected them. Because he tried and succeeded. The bridge was completed, and it was given a name, the Great Naruto Bridge. Not for power, not for bloodlines, but for heart. Naruto stood beneath it, blinking up at the sky. The wind rustled through his orange jacket, and for the first time in his life, he was truly seen. He was no longer just the boy who painted monuments and shouted in crowded streets. He was a teammate, a protector, a hero in someone's eyes. And somewhere deep within him, a quiet hope flickered that these bonds he was forming would never break. Naruto sat on a bench under a tall tree, the morning sun painting dappled shadows across his feet. His hands fidgeted with the edge of his forehead protector, a nervous grin tugging at his lips. Today wasn't just any day, it was a chance to rise. The Chunin Exams, a rigorous series of trials where genin could prove they were ready for the next rank. Stronger missions, greater responsibility, respect. But for Naruto, it was something more. It was a stage, a place to be seen, to prove that he belonged among the best. Team 7. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura walked together through the tall gates of the testing center. Dozens of other genin from other villages waited inside, their eyes sharp, quiet, suspicious. Hidden sand, hidden mist, hidden sound. Each team had come with one goal, to rise above the rest. Among them was a boy with a gourd strapped to his back, his face blank, his presence. Cold. Gaara, of the Sand. Naruto, felt a shiver, not of fear exactly, but of something unspoken. This boy's silence was heavier than anger. The first test was not of battle, but of patience. In a silent hall under the watch of steely-eyed proctors, genin were asked to answer written questions far beyond their skill level. The real test? Endure. Don't give up. Don't be caught cheating. Naruto stared at his blank paper. His fingers tapped nervously. Sweat rolled down his cheek. I don't know the answers. I never know the answers. But he didn't leave. He didn't give in. Because he refused to fail. Not here. Not in front of Sasuke. Not in front of Sakura. And not in front of himself. And just before the final question was revealed, the proctor smiled. He had passed. By holding on. The second test was not so kind. A vast, wild expanse known only as the Forest of Death. Towering trees, hidden predators, and the knowledge that other teams might not play fair. To pass, you needed 2 scrolls. Some would lie, others would fight. Some might even kill. As they stepped into the forest, a hush fell around Team 7. The woods seemed to breathe with ancient warnings. Branches cracked. Insects hummed. Shadows moved. They met danger quickly. Ninjas from the sound. Fast and merciless. and worse. They encountered a presence that chilled even Sasuke's blood. A stranger in disguise, whose tongue flicked unnaturally. Orochimaru. His power was like smoke, slipping through their jutsu, choking their movements. Naruto Kama, reckless and brave, charged in. His strength came in bursts, loud, wild, desperate. But Orochimaru wasn't testing power. He was planting fear. He marked Sasuke with a cursed seal and disappeared into the trees like a nightmare, left unfinished. Naruto lay wounded, but alive. Sakura stood her ground through the night, protecting her teammates with shaking hands. And the forest grew quiet once more. When they emerged, tired and battered, the next test began. Preliminary matches, one-on-one fights to determine who would move on to the final tournament. Sasuke, Sakura, Lee, Neji, Hinata, Shikamaru, Tamari, Gaara. And Naruto. He was paired with Kiba Shinuzuka, loud, cocky, and accompanied by his loyal ninja dog, Akamaru. The crowd expected Naruto to lose. They always did. But Naruto had been practicing. His clones were sharper, his movements more disciplined. And when Kiba boasted too loudly, Naruto struck. Clever, unpredictable. He won. The crowd murmured. Sakura's eyes widened. Even Kakashi tilted his head in quiet approval. Then came the match that made Naruto hold his breath. Hinata versus Neji. Hinata, soft-spoken, gentle-hearted. The girl who always looked at Naruto with quiet admiration. And Neji, cold, confident, claiming fate could not be changed. He struck her again and again with graceful cruelty, telling her she was weak, that her destiny was sealed. But she stood back up, blood on her lips, breath ragged. "I'm not going to run away. Anymore," she whispered. And though she fell, Naruto stood with his fists clenched. He had heard enough about fate. The final round was set for a month later. Time to train. Time to grow. Naruto was paired against Neji Hyuga, master of the gentle fist, a prodigy. And as the day drew near, Naruto's heart wrestled with doubt. Could he really do it? Could he defeat someone born with talent, with legacy, with power written into his blood? He trained with a new sensei, Jiraiya, the eccentric and powerful pervy sage. And together, they awakened something deeper in Naruto. They taught him how to summon giant toads with ancient wisdom, and Naruto pushed himself until his muscles trembled and his chakra flickered like a candle in the wind. He wasn't perfect. But he was determined. The tournament came. Crowds gathered. The Hokage watched from above. Naruto stood in the arena, heart pounding, facing Neji. Neji spoke of fate, of cages, of inevitability. "You were born a failure," he said coldly. "That's all you'll ever be." But Naruto smiled. "Then I'll rewrite my fate," he replied. Their battle echoed through the stadium. Neji's strikes were graceful, deadly. He closed Naruto's chakra points one by one. But Naruto had something Neji couldn't see, a well of spirit deeper than any bloodline. He tricked Neji with a clone, dug through the ground, struck upward with everything he had, and won. The crowd erupted, but Naruto didn't gloat. He walked to Neji and offered him a hand. "Your destiny isn't decided either," he said. "You're not a loser, and neither am I." Naruto didn't become a Chunin that day. But something had changed. Inside him, the echoes of doubt had grown quieter. The words of others, about fate, weakness, limits, no longer had power over him, because he was growing, not just stronger, but steadier, more certain of who he was and who he wanted to become. In a world ruled by legacy, Naruto was carving his own path, step by quiet step, driven not by birthright, but by will. The Chunin Exams had drawn ninja from every village. The stadium was full. the crowd alive with energy. Naruto stood among them, heart racing. But unseen in the shadows, plans were already unfolding. As the final matches began, a strange unease settled in the air. Whispers drifted between watching shinobi. Sand and sound ninjas moved just a little too carefully, and above them all, watching from a seat of honor, was the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Old, wise, the man who had watched Naruto grow up from a distance. A protector of peace, Dot. But peace, it seemed, was ending Dot. Without warning, chaos struck. Ninjas in disguise attacked. Genjutsu swept through the crowd, casting illusions and fear. Giant snakes crashed through the arena walls. Explosions bloomed like fireflowers. Dot. At the center of it all was a face from the past. Orochimaru, the rogue ninja who once trained under the third Hokage, now returned, with a twisted smile and deadly ambition. He sealed them together in a barrier of flames. Teacher and student. One final battle. Elsewhere in the village, teams of young genin fought to protect civilians. Naruto, Sakura, Shikamaru, and others scattered into the chaos. But the real storm was still coming. Gaara, Dot unstable, enraged. His inner demon, a tailed beast like Naruto's, began to stir. He fled the village, his power growing more unstable with every breath. Sasuke followed, determined to stop him. Naruto, seeing Sakura in danger, gave chase. They followed Gaara into the forest, away from the flames. And there, under a gray sky, Naruto faced the monster within the boy. Shukaku, the one-tail, roared to life, sand spiraling into a monstrous form. Gaara's body transformed, lost in rage and confusion. But Naruto did not run. He summoned help. With the toad summoning technique he'd trained so hard to learn, he called forth Gamabunta, the boss toad. Huge, grumpy, powerful. Side by side, they fought the tailed beast. Fangs clashed, claws tore through trees. The earth shook Dot. And yet, Naruto fought not just to win. He fought because he understood Dot Garakama for all his power. Was just like him. A child born alone. Hated. Feared. Dot told by the world that he didn't deserve love. So he stopped trying to find it. Naruto had walked that path too. But somewhere along the way, he had found something else. People who saw him. People who stood beside him. Gaara hadn't. Not yet. And in the end, Naruto didn't win through strength alone. He won by showing Gaara that even someone broken could be healed. Dot. With bloodied hands, he reached out. Not with anger, but with empathy. And Gaara, shaken and silent, looked at Naruto and saw not an enemy, but a mirror. Back in the village, the battle between Orochimaru and the third Hokage reached its final moments. Old, exhausted, but determined. The Hokage used a forbidden sealing technique. With his last strength, he bound Orochimaru's arms, sealing away his jutsu, but it cost him everything. Dot. As the dust settled, the third Hokage lay still. Dot, his robes soaked in silence. His eyes closed beneath the village he loved. A generation mourned. And the sky above Konoha dimmed. Naruto stood among the rubble, watching the village heal itself slowly. The damage was deep, but not just in buildings or streets. The loss of the Hokage left a hole in every heart. Even Naruto, who had once been so distant from the old man, felt the weight of his absence. But the world didn't stop. New responsibilities, new questions, new threats began to stir, and with them came a new teacher, Jiraiya. Tall, strange, loud, a legendary Sannin, a ninja of myth and power. And, surprisingly, the man who had once trained Naruto's own father. At first Naruto only saw a pervy old man, but soon he realized Jiraiya saw something in him no one else did. Not just a student, but a potential successor. a light strong enough to face what was coming, and the danger was coming fast. From the shadows, a new name began to surface: the Akatsuki. A secretive group, cloaked in black robes, patterned with red clouds. Their mission, capture the tailed beasts. Naruto, was a target. And so, Jiraiya took Naruto away, on a journey to grow stronger, and to find someone powerful enough to take the Hokage's place. Tsunade, another of the legendary Sannin, a master healer, a woman broken by grief, running from her past. They found her in a small town, hidden in gambling halls and sake bars. But Jiraiya wasn't the only one looking. Orochimaru, weakened, but not gone, sought her too. Naruto watched as legends clashed. He saw Jiraiya poisoned, Tsunade torn between past loyalties and her duty. He heard Orochimaru offer her the chance to bring her loved ones back, in exchange for helping him. But Naruto challenged her. When she scoffed at his dream of becoming Hokage, he stood tall and shouted, "I won't go back on my word. That's my ninja way." Something in those words stirred her heart. Something familiar. Something she thought she'd lost. And so, after a brutal fight beneath crashing rubble and storm-filled skies, Tsunade made her choice. She fought beside Jiraiya. She healed Naruto's wounds. She returned to the Hidden Leaf. And there, surrounded by villagers, still in mourning, she stepped forward as the fifth Hokage. A new beginning, in the shadow of great loss. The village had changed. The streets still bore scars, but flowers had begun to bloom again on the windowsills. Laughter returned to the markets. And in the Hokage's office, a new voice carried the weight of leadership. Naruto, still growing, still stumbling, stood a little taller. He had faced death, felt the pain of sacrifice. But through it all, he found new strength, not just in battle, but in belief. The belief that even in destruction, you can plant seeds of hope. When friendship was tested, and the rain fell like the tears Naruto wouldn't show. It began with a shadow from the past. One evening, a man returned to the village, tall, cold, unsmiling. His name was Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke's brother, the one who had destroyed the Uchiha clan, the one who had left Sasuke with eyes full of fire and a heart filled with revenge. Their meeting was brief, violent, shattering. And when Sasuke awoke in the hospital days later, something inside him had changed. He looked out the window with a gaze Naruto couldn't quite reach. He trained harder, but not to grow, only to gain power. Power at any cost. Sakura noticed the change. Naruto felt it in the spaces between their words. The bond they had built, brick by brick, was starting to crack. Sasuke could no longer bear being behind. Not behind Naruto. Not behind anyone. And so, when a strange figure came to him in the night, offering power in exchange for loyalty, Sasuke did not refuse. He left the village before sunrise. No goodbye. Only silence. When the news reached Naruto, he didn't hesitate. "I'm going to bring him back," he said, eyes steady. And so a team was formed. The Sasuke Retrieval Squad. Shikamaru, Kiba, Choji, Neji, Naruto, 5 Genin, friends, comrades. They left without fanfare, their sandals brushing softly against dirt paths and mossy roots as they crossed into dangerous territory. The wind whispered around them like an old song. They would not all return unscathed. Waiting ahead were Orochimaru's chosen protectors, the Sound Four. Each powerful, each twisted by the curse mark, each determined to stop them. One by one, the squad split off to hold the line. Choji, fighting with the strength he had always hidden. Pills that drained his body, but awakened his pride. Neji, facing a deadly trap, using his Byakugan to see what others couldn't, and sacrificing himself to protect his team. Kiba, his bond with Akamaru tested in a fight of mirrors and illusion. Shikamaru, outnumbered, outmatched, yet calm as ever, fighting with shadows and intellect. Each battle was a piece of something greater, a proof of loyalty, of friendship, of belief in the mission. And then, in the stillness beyond the battlefield, Naruto found Sasuke. The air was heavy with mist and sorrow. They stood at the edge of a massive waterfall, deep in the valley of the end. Statues loomed behind them, giants of stone, Madara Uchiha, and the first Hokage, symbols of a past war. Now mirrored by two boys, standing on the edge of their own. Naruto smiled through the pain. "I've come to bring you back," he said. But Sasuke's eyes were distant. "I've chosen my path," he replied. Naruto pleaded, shouted, fought. But Sasuke only moved deeper into darkness. They clashed with fists, with jutsu, with hearts full of everything they couldn't say. Lightning met wind. Rage met sorrow. And beneath it all was the desperate heartbeat of a friendship breaking. Sasuke activated the curse mark, Naruto the Nine Tails. The ground cracked beneath them. The waterfall roared. Sasuke's Chidori collided with Naruto's Rasengan, and the world held its breath. When the light faded, Naruto lay broken. And Sasuke stood above him, heart trembling. He had won. But he chose not to kill. He turned away, left the boy who called him brother, lying in the rain. Later, in the hospital, Naruto opened his eyes. Sakura sat nearby, her hands fidgeted in her lap. She didn't ask what happened. She didn't need to. Naruto looked out the window. The clouds hung low. The trees swayed gently. And inside him was a quiet, aching emptiness. He had promised to bring Sasuke back. And he had failed. The words weighed on him heavier than any wound. But even through that pain, even through the sting of betrayal, Naruto didn't let the flame die. "I'll bring him back," he said again. Only this time, it was quieter. More certain. Not for recognition, not for a mission, but because he still believed in the bond they shared. Some journeys aren't about reaching the end. They're about the vow to keep walking, even when the path disappears. And so, Naruto didn't stop. He wiped his tears when no one was looking. He healed. He trained. He dreamed. Because real bonds don't break. Even when stretched. Even when lost in darkness. They simply wait. To be found again. Time has passed. But some things, like hope, and dreams, and bonds, remain unchanged. The boy we once knew is returning. He's grown taller, wiser. But his smile still carries the same light. Let's follow him now. Back to the Hidden Leaf. Back home. 2.5 years had passed. The winds of the world had changed. Wars had whispered through forgotten lands. New dangers stirred in silence. And far from the village, beneath endless skies, Naruto Uzumaki trained. With Jiraiya, his eccentric, powerful, deeply wise master. They traveled from town to town, chasing rumors, learning new jutsu, growing stronger with each step. Naruto's hair had grown a little longer, his voice deeper. But the dream in his heart, still exactly the same. At last, the day came. He returned to the gates of the Hidden Leaf. The village looked familiar. Lanterns swayed in the wind. Vendors shouted through the morning haze, but people noticed something different. The once scrawny prankster now stood with a confident stride. He still smiled, but there was steel behind it. And waiting for him at the village entrance was Sakura. Older now too, stronger, but the moment she saw him, her voice caught. Welcome back, Naruto. They walked the streets together, sharing quiet memories. He learned how much she had grown, training under Tsunade, mastering medical ninjutsu, developing strength that could shake mountains. And when Kakashi finally appeared, late as always, they reunited like a family long apart. Team 7 was whole again, or almost. Because Sasuke was still missing. His absence echoed in every room they entered, in the pauses between laughter, and the quiet look Naruto and Sakura shared when no one was watching. But there was no time to dwell. Far away, in the hidden village of sand, another bond was being tested. Gaara, once an enemy, now a Kazekage, a symbol of change, a leader of his people. He had found peace after his fight with Naruto. He had learned what it meant to protect, not destroy. But the shadows had not forgotten him. In the dead of night, the Akatsuki came cloaked in black robes, red clouds blooming like blood across their sleeves. Two of them, silent, merciless, descended upon the sand village. They fought Gaara. And they took him . The news reached the Leaf with grim urgency. Tsunade called upon Naruto and Sakura. Kakashi followed. And just like that, Team 7 set out once more. But this time, they weren't children chasing recognition. They were shinobi, on a mission to protect a friend . The desert stretched before them, hot, endless, silent. Naruto's thoughts swirled beneath the sun. He remembered Gaara's eyes, once wild with loneliness. He remembered the promise he made, not just to save him, but to show him a better path. And now, that friend was in danger again. It hurt in a way Naruto couldn't quite speak . Not because he feared losing Gaara, but because he knew how it felt to be taken for what you carried inside. The Akatsuki didn't care about Gaara. They only wanted the tailed beast within him. Just like Naruto. And so, the mission took on new weight. It wasn't just about rescuing a friend. It was a glimpse into what could happen to Naruto if the world looked the other way. They found allies along the way. Chiyo, an elder of the sand, full of regrets and old stories. And Team Guy, Neji, Lee, and Tenten, fighting in parallel, each carrying their own growth. Together, they tracked the Akatsuki to a hidden cave, sealed behind traps and illusions. Inside was Gaara, lying still, cold, lifeless. Naruto's breath caught. He ran to him, shouting his name, but the Akatsuki were gone. Their work already done. The beast inside Gaara, Shukaku, was gone. Naruto clenched his fists. His eyes burned. All that training, all that strength. And still, he had arrived too late. But then something unexpected happened. Chiyo, who had once hated Naruto for being a Jinchuriki, offered her life in exchange for Gaara's. She performed a jutsu forbidden and ancient, one of sacrifice. And slowly, Gaara opened his eyes. Alive. Saved. The first thing he saw was Naruto. Their eyes met. Two boys who once stood on opposite sides of a battlefield, now brothers in spirit. Gaara sat up slowly, and the villagers who once feared him cheered. As the sun rose above the sand dunes, Naruto felt something settle in his heart. He hadn't just saved a friend. He had changed a village. Helped Gaara become something more than a vessel, a leader, a symbol. Someone worth cheering for. But even in that triumph, the shadow of the Akatsuki remained. Their plan wasn't over. There were still other tailed beasts, other targets. And Naruto knew he was one of them. He had grown taller, his voice deeper, his jutsu sharper. But none of that mattered more than the truth at his core, that his dreams hadn't changed. He still wanted to protect, still wanted to be acknowledged, still wanted to bring back a friend. And as the winds whispered over the dunes and the stars returned to the night sky, Naruto stood quietly, looking ahead. The journey was far from over. But now, he was ready to walk it. We walk into a quieter part of Naruto's story, but also one of its heaviest. A time of trials, of choices, of deep, aching loss. It is here that Naruto begins to understand the world, not as a child sees it, but as a leader must. He has grown stronger. But now, strength alone is not enough. Not when the people he loves are fading like whispers on the wind. Not when peace must be chosen over vengeance. Let us return to where hearts break and heroes rise. The clouds were gathering. Naruto had faced enemies before, shinobi of terrifying skill, monsters cloaked in chakra, traitors from within. But now, something darker loomed. The Akatsuki were moving. More organized, more deadly, more relentless. In their path stood Itachi Uchiha and Deidara, ghosts and flames. Itachi with his calm voice and sad eyes. A brother carrying a secret the world still didn't understand. Deidara Kama with his explosions and his cold laughter, fighting not for peace, but for chaos. Naruto faced them both in different ways. And each time, he glimpsed how wide the world truly was. How far he still had to go. But even in those moments, afraid, outmatched, he didn't step back. He was learning. He was watching. He was preparing. But not all battles are fought in the field. Some begin in silence, far from home. Jiraiya, Naruto's teacher, his mentor, his godfather, left the village with a quiet goodbye. He had learned the truth of the Akatsuki's leader, a man once called Nagato, now hidden behind the name Pain. And so, Jiraiya went alone, to the Rain Village, a place of secrets and sorrow. He fought. He uncovered the truth. And in the end, he died. The message reached the leaf like a cold wind. Naruto stood frozen as the words were spoken. He didn't cry at first. Just stood there, staring at the sky. Later, he sat alone on a bench. The village went on around him. He thought about Jiraiya's laugh, his terrible jokes, his quiet wisdom. And the last thing he had said, that Naruto might be the one to bring true peace to the world. Grief could have broken him, but it didn't. It sharpened him. Naruto left the village once more. To train, to grow, to learn Sage Mode, a technique of immense power, rooted in balance between body, mind, and nature. It wasn't easy. The training pushed him to his limits. He had to become still, focused, one with the world around him. But something inside him changed. His movements slowed. His anger quieted. His heart grew calm. And when he finally opened his eyes, they glowed with the gold of the Toad Sages. Naruto had become something new. But peace does not wait. While he trained, the sky over the hidden leaf cracked open. And pain came. 6 bodies, 1 mind, floating down like judgment itself. He walked through the village and destroyed it. Buildings turned to dust, lives lost in an instant. The people screamed, scattered, searched for safety. And at the center of it all stood Pain, unmoved, unforgiving. He was not just here to kill. He was here to send a message. Naruto returned not to a village, but to a crater. He landed in sage mode, eyes burning, heart steady. All around him, rubble, dust, ash. But no fear, only resolve. The battle began. Naruto against the 6 paths of pain. Toads by his side, strategy in his mind. He fought not with rage, but with purpose. One by one, he took them down. And when the last stood before him, Naruto did not strike. He traced the chakra, followed it to a small hidden place, deep in the forest. And there, he found Nagato. He was thin, pale, a body once human, now half machine. His eyes were the same as Jiraiya's stories, the Rinnegan, ancient and powerful. And his voice was tired. Nagato spoke of pain, of suffering, of how peace could only come through control. Naruto listened, truly listened. He thought of his village, of Jiraiya, of Sasuke, of Gaara. He thought of himself, of all the times he could have chosen revenge, and didn't. And then, Naruto did something few ever had the strength to do. He did not raise his fist. He extended his hand. I will break the cycle, he said. I will find a way to bring peace, without more pain. Nagato looked into his eyes, and for the first time, he believed him. With the last of his life, Nagato used a jutsu of impossible power. He brought back everyone who had died in the Leaf Village attack. A final offering, a quiet apology, a new beginning. When Naruto returned to the village, scarred, tired, and silent, the people gathered. They had watched from hiding, heard the stories, seen the battle's end. And as one, they stepped forward. They clapped. They cheered. They shouted his name. Naruto! Naruto! The boy who had once been hated, feared, ignored, now stood as their hero. And for a moment, just a moment, Naruto felt whole. He had lost someone dear. He had stood at the edge of rage and turned toward peace. And in that choice, he became something more. Not just a shinobi. Not just a hero. But a light in the dark. A voice that said, we can choose another way, and though the path ahead would still be long. Naruto had already changed the world, one heart at a time. When long hidden stories begin to shine through the mist of memory, Naruto is about to uncover the roots of his story, the truth about where he came from, and why his journey was always meant to be. Each secret is a gentle step forward, each answer a piece of the puzzle Naruto has searched for, unknowingly, his whole life. Let's step softly with him into the shadows of the past. The night was calm. The stars scattered like silver whispers across the sky. And in that stillness, Naruto sat alone, his mind drifting between dreams and waking. Suddenly, a warm glow appeared, a familiar presence. Before him stood the spirit of Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, his father. A man Naruto had never met, yet somehow knew. Minato's eyes held kindness and pride. Naruto, he said gently, you have grown so much, but there is still much to learn. Together, they walked through the fields of the village, bathed in moonlight. Minato spoke softly, teaching Naruto to feel the 9 tails within him, not as a beast to be feared, but as a part of himself. Control comes from understanding, Minato whispered, from accepting all that you are. Naruto listened closely, feeling the steady pulse of Kurama, the Ninetales, inside. Slowly, the wild energy calmed. Then came another presence, warm, radiant. Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto's mother. Her smile was gentle, filled with love and sadness. She spoke of her own strength, her fierce will to protect the village and her son. You carry our blood, she told him, and the hope of our family. Naruto felt tears warm his cheeks. For the first time, he truly knew where he came from. Minato and Kushina shared the story of the night Naruto was born, the night the Ninetales attacked. How Minato and Kushina had sacrificed everything to protect the village, and to seal the beast inside their newborn son. They spoke of love, of loss, of hope passed down like a torch. Naruto felt the weight of their sacrifice, but also the strength it gave him. He was not alone, Dot. As the spirit faded with the dawn, Naruto's heart felt lighter, stronger, ready, Dot. Because now he carried not just their chakra, but their love. But beyond his own journey, a new storm was gathering. Child. The fourth great ninja war had begun. The Akatsuki's plan had been revealed, an attempt to gather all the tailed beasts and reshape the world. The shinobi nations united in uneasy alliance, preparing for the battle ahead. The war front was a vast battlefield of shadows and memories. The enemy called upon the forbidden art of Edo Tensei, reanimating powerful fallen shinobi to fight again. Ghosts of the past returned to life, their eyes empty, but their skills fierce. Naruto stood on the edge of this chaos, feeling the weight of history pressing down. Each battle brought new challenges, friends and foes clashing amid the roar of war. And yet, beneath it all, Naruto carried his newfound understanding. Each truth he had learned about his lineage, his parents, the Ninetales, was a piece of the puzzle that would guide him forward. Tonight, the past has whispered its secrets. Naruto's story is no longer just about the boy who never gave up. It is about the boy who carries the dreams of generations and the courage to shape his own future. And as the stars keep watch overhead, we can rest knowing some truths, softly told, can light the darkest night. The Fourth Great Ninja War was not just a battle of strength and power, but a story of unity. A moment when the world's divisions began to heal, and when the quiet courage of many shone through the darkest clouds. Naruto, no longer the restless boy, had become a symbol of friendship, perseverance, and the calm strength that comes from believing in others. Let's step gently into the heart of this epic struggle. The battlefield stretched wide and wild beneath a gray sky. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, shinobi gathered in a vast, living tide. Soldiers from every village, hidden leaf, hidden sand, hidden mist, hidden cloud, and hidden stone, had laid down old rivalries. Together, they formed the allied shinobi forces. Their faces were tired, yet determined. Their hearts beat as one. Naruto stood at the center, feeling the weight of their hopes. But he was not alone. At his side flowed the powerful chakra of Kurama, the Nine-Tails Fox, once a force of destruction, now a steadfast ally. Their bond was no longer one of conflict, but of friendship and understanding. With Kurama's strength harmonized to his own spirit, Naruto's power surged like a quiet storm, steady and unstoppable. The enemy was formidable, Leading the charge was Madara Uchiha, a legend resurrected. His presence commanded the battlefield like a god descending. With the fearsome Rinnegan eyes and a mastery of forbidden jutsu, Madara seemed unstoppable. Beside him was Obito Uchiha, once a hopeful child, now twisted by grief and ambition. Obito's hatred burned fiercely, yet beneath it lingered a flicker of the boy Naruto once knew. Naruto faced them with calm resolve. He recalled all the lessons Jiraiya had taught him, all the moments when he had fought not for himself, but for those he loved. He called upon his new abilities, Sage Mode, Kurama's chakra cloak, and a heart full of determination. But the war was more than just a battle between Naruto and the Uchiha. It was a test of friendship and loyalty. Dot. When Sasuke finally returned to the battlefield, the air shifted. Dot. Once a rival consumed by darkness, Sasuke now stood as a reluctant ally. Their eyes met across the chaos, silent understanding passing between them. Together, they fought side by side, a dance of shadows and light. Dot. Meanwhile, Kama the reanimated Hokage, Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato rose once again. Their ancient faces, lined with wisdom and sacrifice, led the shinobi armies with unwavering strength. Though their bodies were puppets of the Edo Tensei technique, their spirits burned brightly. They reminded everyone that the will of fire, the spirit of the hidden leaf, was eternal. Throughout the battles, Team 7 reunited. Sakura, with her unwavering resolve and healing powers, stood firmly beside Kakashi, the wise and calm leader, and Naruto and Sasuke. Their bond, forged in childhood and tempered by trials, was a beacon amid the chaos. They were not just comrades, they were family. The fighting was fierce, but measured. The moments of stillness, precious. In the quiet between clashes, Naruto found time to speak words of encouragement to his friends. He reminded them of their strength, their hope. Dot. Each smile, each clasped hand, became a small light in the darkness. One of the most powerful moments came during the battle against Madara himself. Naruto and Sasuke combined their forces, blending their unique chakra and jutsu. Their teamwork was a testament to how far they had come, not just as fighters, but as people. Through every fight, Naruto's leadership grew. He inspired, not by shouting commands, but by quietly showing courage. He listened to others, trusted in their skills, and never lost sight of the bigger picture, the dream of peace. The Fourth Great Ninja War was a storm of power and will. But beneath it all was a deeper truth, that unity can overcome even the greatest darkness. That the bonds we forge, the friendships we nurture, are stronger than any weapon. And as the night slowly folds into dawn, Naruto's journey reminds us that even in the fiercest battles, calm perseverance and trust in one another can light the way. We arrive at the closing chapter of Naruto's long and winding journey. A chapter where shadows dissolve, where old wounds find healing, and where the quiet light of hope shines the brightest. This is the story of the final battle, the moment when the boy, who once stood alone, becomes the man who carries the weight of the world, and, at last, finds peace. Let's step gently into this final tale, letting the calm wash over us as we watch the last threads of Naruto's story unfold. The sky was heavy with dark clouds, swirling like smoke above the jagged mountains of the Valley of the End. A place that held the memories of battles long past, echoes of friendship, rivalry, and the pain that comes with growing up. The winds carried a low hum of ancient power, a stirring that whispered through the trees and river below. From this quiet darkness emerged a figure both terrifying and mesmerizing, Kaguya Otsutsuki, the progenitor of chakra itself, the mother of all ninja. Her form glowed with an otherworldly light, her eyes deep pools of infinite knowledge and cold power. She was a force of nature, a godlike presence who threatened to swallow the world whole. Naruto and Sasuke stood together at the valley's edge, the air crackling with energy as they faced this final threat. Naruto's chest rose and fell steadily, his breath calm despite the storm gathering around them. Beside him, Sasuke's eyes, dark and intense, flickered with the weight of his own struggles. Though their paths had diverged so many times, today they were united by something stronger than rivalry, a shared desire to protect what mattered most. The battle against Kaguya was unlike any other. Power surged in waves. Earth trembled, the sky roared, and chakra clashed like crashing tides. Naruto moved with graceful power, drawing on every lesson learned, every friendship forged. Kurama's chakra wrapped around him like a warm cloak, steadying his heart and guiding his strikes. Sasuke was equally fierce, his Rinnegan eyes blazing with determination. Together, they fought as a seamless force, two halves of a whole, balancing strength and strategy, fury and calm. Yet, even as Kaguya was sealed away, a deeper conflict awaited. Naruto and Sasuke faced one another once again, this time not as enemies of the world, but as two souls grappling with what justice truly meant. Sasuke's vision was clear. He believed the world needed to be reshaped by force, with himself as the ruler who would bring order. Naruto, however, held onto a dream built on connection and forgiveness, a world where people could understand one another without fear or hatred. Their final battle began as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the valley. The river's water shimmered softly, disturbed only by the ripples of their energy. They moved with a mix of fury and grace, each strike a conversation, each block a question. Naruto's voice was steady as he spoke through the clash. "We don't have to be enemies, Sasuke. We can build something better. Together." For the first time, Sasuke's hardened expression softened. The fire in his eyes flickered with doubt, touched by Naruto's unwavering belief. As the fight wore on, their exhaustion grew. Bruised and battered, they lay on the ground, faces close, the quiet sounds of the valley wrapping around them like a gentle blanket. Sasuke reached out, his hand trembling slightly, and took Naruto's. "I was wrong," he whispered. "Thank you for never giving up." Naruto smiled softly, warmth flooding his chest. They had come full circle, two friends who had once been enemies, now bound by understanding and hope. The battle won, Naruto returned to the Hidden Leaf Village, stepping through the gates that had once seemed so distant. The village was alive with light and laughter, the people celebrating the dawn of a new era. Children played in the streets, their joyful voices carried on the breeze, the same breeze that once brought the scent of ramen to a lonely boy's ears. Naruto's heart swelled with peace. He was no longer the outcast. He was home. Years passed gently, like leaves drifting on a quiet stream. Naruto's dream, once a distant star, became reality. He was named the Seventh Hokage, the leader of the Hidden Leaf, the protector of all he loved. His office was filled with memories, photos of friends, gifts from loved ones, and symbols of the village's enduring spirit. The village flourished under his guidance. Peace was no longer just a hope, but a lived experience. Villagers greeted one another with smiles and kindness. Old wounds healed. New stories were born. Naruto often wandered the village at dusk, feeling the soft earth beneath his feet, listening to the gentle murmur of the wind. He watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink, a reminder of the journey that had brought him here. The boy who once cried alone was now the man who stood tall, strong, loved, and at peace. So as you drift now into your dreams, carry with you the story of Naruto Uzumaki, the boy who never gave up, the friend who believed in others, and the hero who chose peace over war. May your own dreams be filled with hope, kindness, and the gentle courage to face whatever comes. Good night.